Let's begin. We'll start by telling you that the Senate on Thursday has suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan for 6 months following her face-off with Senate President Godswill Akpabio during plenary on February 20th. The decision came after the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions presented its report and recommendations, which were fully adopted by the Senate. Senate President Godswill Akpabio put the recommendations to a voice vote, and they were overwhelmingly supported. However, an amendment was made after Senator Orji Uzo Kalu appealed that Akpoti-Uduaghan's legislative aides should not suffer for her actions, ensuring that their full salaries and allowances remain intact.
Prayer 7, that for the period of her suspension, she be barred from representing herself to the public locally and internationally as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Those who support prayer 7 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let me thank my colleagues.
In the meantime, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan on Thursday resubmitted a sexual harassment petition against Senate President Godswill Akpabio. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs resubmitted the petition during plenary after her earlier petition was rejected by the Senate Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petitions. Speaking during the presentation, the Kogi lawmaker said the newly submitted petition was filed by constituents led by one Zabiru Yakubu. And let's head to River State, where a militant group, Niger Delta Rescue Movement, has threatened to attack oil installations in the region over the seizure of the allocation due to River State. The group also asked non-indigens living in River State to leave, warning that hostilities were about to begin. A trending social media video that surfaced on Thursday showed the militants, numbering about 8, with AK-47 and other assaulted rifles in an unknown forest, chanting and singing war songs. Chants like Asawana, a common slogan among the Ijo ethnic group, were heard as the militants brandished their weapons. They said the action of the Martins Amawale-led 27 lawmakers was already leading to anarchy in River State and could pave the way for the declaration of a state of emergency. In the meantime, the River State Judiciary has denied reports that the State Chief Judge, Justice Simon Amadi, is set to embark on a year's leave. A media report claimed on Wednesday that Amadi announced the one-year leave amid the political crisis in the state. The report claimed that the purported move had come as a setback to the rumored impeachment of Governor Siminalayi Fubara by lawmakers loyal to FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. But in a statement on Thursday, the Chief Registrar of the State High Court, David Ihua Madunyi, he described the allegation as misleading, false and baseless. And now to judicial matters. The Federal High Court in Abuja on Thursday adjourned the alleged money laundering case instituted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission against the independent past, or rather the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, to March 7th for continuation of the trial. Now, when the matter was called on Thursday, counsel for the EFCC, Kemi Pinheiro, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, called Williams Abimbola its witness on subpoena. The witness confirmed during cross-examination that the former governor's name did not feature in the opening and management of the said Kogi Government House Bank account. She also noted that she was not the accounts officer of the Kogi Government House account and that the account is domiciled in Lokoja, Kogi State, and not Area 3, Abuja, where she works. In the meantime, a federal high court in Kaduna has ordered the interim forfeiture of 1.37 billion naira allegedly diverted from the state government's coffers during former Governor Nasir El-Rufai's administration. The money was meant for a light rail project that was never executed, depriving the people of Kaduna State of its benefits. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, traced the diverted funds to a private account belonging to Indo-Kaduna Marts JV Nigeria Limited. The court directed the ICPC to publish a notice in 2 national newspapers inviting anyone with interest in the property to present their claim. The case has been adjourned to April 8th, 2025 for interested parties to make their case before the court. And you're watching news now on News Central Television. Let's go on a break. When we return, President Tinubu gives automatic employment to 774 health fellows. We have the details just after the break. Stay with us. And you're welcome back. President Bola Tinubu has granted automatic employment to 774 fellows of the National Health Program. The president stated this while speaking at the presidential launch of the program in Abuja, the nation's capital. Addressing the young fellows tasked with monitoring primary health care centers, PHCs, across all 774 local government areas, Tinubu promised them employment after their one-year tenure. Friday's announcement came after the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Ali Pate, urged the federal, state and local governments to integrate the fellows into the workforce to support universal health coverage.
The coordinating minister and the champion of this program has requested for an approval. And luckily, the Minister of Finance coordinating economy is here also. For that, you are hired. I congratulate you for being selected as a pioneer of the transformative initiative. Your dedication, passion, and relentless pursuit of excellence have brought you here. You represent the best of our nation's talent, and your vision and hard work will shape the future of healthcare.
On Wednesday, a three-story building under construction collapsed at Oriwu Street in the Lekki Phase 1 area of Lagos State. According to Dr. Olufemi Okin-Osoyin-Tolu, the permanent secretary of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, in a statement on Wednesday night, 6 persons also reportedly sustained varying degrees of injury, while the number of rescued victims has risen to 14. A team from News Central Television visited the site but were denied entry and coverage. While the immediate cause of the collapse is yet to be ascertained and further investigations are on the way, this recent incident underscores the critical need for stringent enforcement of building regulations and adherence to safety standards to prevent such tragedies in the future. The FCT Police Command says that it has arrested 300 suspected criminal elements following raids on insecurity hotspots within the capital. The police commissioner, Olatunji Disu, while speaking to newsmen during a parade ceremony at the command headquarters in Abuja, said that 7 suspected kidnappers were also neutralized with others apprehended following anti-kidnapping operations.
It was another opportunity to showcase efforts aimed at ending crime by the FCT Police Command within the federal capital. Several exhibits were on display, recovered from suspected criminal elements.
These decisive actions, driven by intelligence and executed with tactical precision, have led to the arrest of 300 suspects and the recovery of a significant catch of arms and ammunition and other illicit substances. We embark on targeted raids and clearance operations, demonstrating unwavering commitment to the safety of the residents of the Federal Capital Territory. The command deployed specialized tactical teams to raid identified criminal hideouts and black spots within the FCT.
The FCT Police Commissioner Tunde Disu says the high-level operations were conducted in several satellite communities, thus leading to the arrest of some suspected kidnappers.
These operations covered high-risk areas, including Dede, Karu, Guaripa, Jikoi, Karimo, Maitama, anti-kidnapping clearance operations in villages and communities bordering the Federal Capital Territory. Additionally, abandoned buildings across the city, frequently used as hideouts and bases for planning illicit activities, have been identified and will be subjected to continuous monitoring, and raids.
The commissioner says that the operations, which were largely successful, neutralized 7 kidnappers while arresting others.
During these special operations, 7 kidnappers were neutralized in action, while several others were arrested. These proactive measures have significantly disrupted the activities of criminal elements operating along these notorious corridors.
On intelligence, the command intercepted those gangs from a dismissed immigration officer trying to sell it to bandits terrorizing Abuja, Kaduna Forest. This is the latest model, this 2022 model of Scorpion category of arms. Is EBO3. The last version is EBO3. This is EBO3.
He revealed that operations are still ongoing at forests bordering the capital in a bid to dominate the areas and stop it from being used by notorious criminal elements. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
The Borno State Governor, Professor Babangana Zulum, has sworn in a new head of service, Dr. Mohammed Aminu Buzule, with a call for transformation of the civil service system. News Center's Umaru Kirawa reports that the governor charged the new head of service to roll out a plan for specialized training programs and mentorship initiatives to ensure professionalism and discipline in the Borno State civil service.
The assignment that I want you to conclude, amongst others, is the establishment of a very veritable nominal role of Borno State civil servant that has all the above data. Let us say the right thing. We have some major problems in the civil service in Borno State. Among the problems are one, lack of competent administrative officers. Let us have them data very well according to their areas of specialization, so that we can train them very well. For you to rule very well, you must be tough and step on toes of me. I'll be happy if within the next 6 months you are bringing files forward to my office recommended for dismissals and others. Yes, those that are not coming to work. Without putting measures on ground, people will never do the right thing. Doing the right thing does not mean wickedness.
Our preoccupation during our tenure will therefore be dwelling on building a robust and technology-driven civil service with adaptable workforce that can effectively tackle the challenges of governance in the years ahead. This will be part of our broader plan to rejuvenate the state civil service, bringing in youthful energy, new skills, and innovations. The aim is to provide the opportunity to embrace technology, improve service delivery, and create a more dynamic workforce.
In Nigeria, shipbuilding, repairs, and recycling, among others, should be a pivotal sector around which the broader maritime industry revolves. Stakeholders believe shipyards equipped with dry docks and fabrication facilities will ensure a thriving indigenous industry. News Central's maritime correspondent takes a look at how this critical sector has fared. Take a look.
Developing the shipbuilding and repair sector in Nigeria represents largely a transformative opportunity, considering her vast coastline, strategic location, and commitment to make it well-suited for development. To harness the potential of the maritime sector, economic opportunities, benefits to national security, local content development, environmental sustainability, infrastructural development, and export potential all underscore the value Nigeria's government will derive investing in shipbuilding, ship repairs, and recycling. To unlock its potentials, Nigeria must adopt a comprehensive approach encompassing policy and skill development, adding infrastructural investment skill with international collaboration. By doing this, Nigeria can chart a course towards economic transformation, job creation, and a more secure maritime environment, ultimately improving the quality of life for its citizens and becoming a maritime powerhouse in West Africa and beyond.
In the shipbuilding and ship repair industry, because it's still at its infancy in Nigeria. But according to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, Nigeria is the largest ship owning country in Africa, ranking 33rd globally, with 291 vessels, totaling 7.94 million deadweight. In terms of shipyards, we currently have 10 shipyards in Nigeria, with 6 being operational. With that, there is a maximum capacity of 25,000 tons.
Shipyards, equipped with dry docks and fabrication facilities, will ensure a thriving indigenous industry, serve as industry hubs, engaging in ship construction, repair, conversion, alteration, and producing ship and barge sections. Their impact extends also to manufacturing and support facilities, which will in turn nurture sectors like shipping, fisheries, oil and gas, port operations, tourism, and job creation.
We have very few operational yards with limited capacity to handle large-sized vessels. And even the existing shipyards need modern technology, automation, and the likes to enhance efficiency in their output. So another challenge is huge operational cost. The raw materials that are needed for shipbuilding have to be sourced, and this is at huge cost.
Shipbuilding is not just a sector. It is an economic powerhouse with a potential for national development. It is hoped that bringing this to fore will once again give government the opportunity to develop it. In Lagos, for News Central, Norma Obiaswalo.
And you're welcome back. 3 new Ebola cases have been reported in Uganda, bringing the total to 12 since the outbreak began in late January. Ugandan authorities said in mid-February that the outbreak was contained. But the Ethiopia-based Africa CDC said a new cluster has been identified with 3 confirmed cases and 2 others probable. CDC Chief of Staff Ngashi Ngongo said a total of 69 people have been identified as contacts, and all are currently being followed up. The Ebola outbreak in Uganda has left 2 people dead, a 4-year-old child and a nurse, and currently affects 5 districts. In South Sudan, a spokesperson for the vice president on Thursday said that the South Sudanese forces have arrested the peace-building minister. The arrest of Stephen Parr Cole follows intense fighting in recent weeks in the strategic northern town of Nasir between national forces and the White Army Militia, a loosely organized group mostly comprising armed Noor. Machar, who's the Vice President Ethics Group. That's the Vice President Ethics Group. Now, the White Army fought alongside Machar's forces in the 2013-2018 civil war that pitted them against predominantly ethnic Dinka troops loyal to President Salva Kiir. Information Minister Michael Mackay on Wednesday accused forces loyal to Machar of collaborating with the White Army and attacking a military garrison near Nasir town earlier this week. Congo's former president, Joseph Kabila, has initiated talks with opposition politicians about the country's political future as Rwanda-backed rebels seize territory in the east. The discussions, which have also involved civil society members, represent a potential additional threat to current President Felix Tshisekedi, who has faced criticism over his response to the unprecedented advance of M23 rebels. The president and the former president once formed an awkward power-sharing deal following Congo's disputed 2018 election, where Tshisekedi eventually began chipping away at his predecessor's influence while accusing him of blocking reforms. The two men's relationship soured to the point that as M23 marched on East Congo's second-largest city of Bukavu last month, Tshisekedi told Munich Security Conference that the former President Kabila had sponsored the insurgency. The U.S. Supreme Court has rejected President Donald Trump's attempt to freeze around $2 billion in foreign aid payments ruling 5-7 in favor of resuming payments on completed contracts. The court upheld a lower court's decision requiring the government to fulfill its obligations with the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, and the State Department. Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett, both conservatives, joined the 3 liberal justices in the majority. The ruling comes amid Trump's campaign to reduce government spending, particularly targeting USAID. In opposition, Justice Samuel Alito criticized the decision, questioning the power of a single district judge to compel the government to make such payments. European leaders are gathering in Brussels for an emergency summit as the Trump administration dramatically shifts its stance on Ukraine. With U.S. military aid and intelligence sharing now suspended, EU leaders are facing tough questions about their own security and whether Europe must take greater control of its defense. From News Central, international correspondent Afia Hagen has the latest.
For the first time since Donald Trump's tense meeting with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, all 27 EU leaders are gathering in Brussels, grappling with the reality that American support for Kyiv is no longer guaranteed. The sudden shift from Washington has left European allies scrambling, with concerns growing that the United States is no longer a reliable security partner. Whilst the EU has already pledged 30 billion euros in aid this year, no major funding is expected from this summit. Instead, the focus is shifting towards Europe's long-term defence strategy. The growing consensus in Brussels is clear. Europe must bolster its own defences against Russia. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has unveiled an €800 billion plan to rearm Europe and take control of the continent's security. She says the question is no longer whether Europe is under threat, but whether it's ready to act fast enough to respond. The urgency has only increased with Trump's apparent willingness to negotiate directly with Russian President Vladimir Putin, while showing an open hostility towards Zelensky. European leaders fear that Kiev's interests and their own could be sidelined in any deal to end the war. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has called for a coalition of the willing to present a European-led peace plan to the US. Meanwhile, France and Britain have proposed a temporary truce covering air, sea and energy infrastructure. One of the most controversial proposals on the table, sending an EU force to guarantee any future peace deal in Ukraine. Zelensky, who is attending the summit, has gone even further, calling for the creation of a European army, arguing that the continent can no longer rely on Washington. But the most immediate challenge is military funding. Trump has demanded NATO members increase their defence spending from 2% of GDP to 5%, an impossible target for most EU nations. Still, there is growing political will to boost defence budgets. Germany's incoming Chancellor Friedrich Merz has signalled plans to rewrite his country's debt rules to unlock military funding. And in France, President Emmanuel Macron has warned that Russia poses a direct threat to the continent. Macron's warning is stark. He says who can believe that Russia will stop at Ukraine? And with Trump shaking up the transatlantic alliance, European leaders now face a defining moment. Do they continue relying on US support or finally take control of their own defence? With major questions about funding and military strategy still unresolved, the coming weeks will be crucial for Europe's security. For News Central, I'm Afia Hagen.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has warned against any detected peace in Ukraine, emphasizing the need for a just and fair resolution that upholds Ukraine's sovereignty and independence. Speaking at a Brussels summit, Scholz has stressed that Ukraine must not be forced into an unfavorable settlement amid concerns over Washington's diplomatic engagements with Moscow. His remarks have come as fears grow that negotiations could pressure Kyiv into accepting terms that compromise its territorial integrity. Scholz has reiterated Germany's support for Ukraine, calling for continued international efforts to ensure a peace agreement that aligns with Ukraine's interests. The statement has underscored ongoing tensions surrounding the conflict and global diplomatic efforts to find a resolution that does not undermine Ukraine's autonomy.
Es ist ganz wichtig, dass wir sicherstellen, dass die Ukraine nicht einen Diktatfrieden akzeptieren muss, sondern dass es um einen fairen, gerechten Frieden, der die Souveränität und Unabhängigkeit der Ukraine sicherstellt, geht. Deshalb also die konkreten Vorschläge dazu, dass die Waffen in der Luft und auf See erstmal schweigen sollen, dass die Energieinfrastruktur nicht weiter gefährdet wird und dass die Ausgangsbasis sein kann für Gefangenenaustausch, für die Rückführung von entführten Personen.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has stated that no one forbids French President Emmanuel Macron from calling Russian President Vladimir Putin. Speaking at a press conference in Moscow alongside Zimbabwe's Foreign Minister, Lavrov responded to Macron's recent address in which he labeled Russia a threat to France and Europe. He also dismissed the remarks as absurd and nonsense. He noted that Macron frequently asserts his intention to call Putin, emphasizing that there are no restrictions preventing such communication. Macron's statement come amid ongoing tensions between Russia and Western nations over the war in Ukraine. While diplomatic channels remain open, Lavrov's remarks highlight Russia's rejection of Macron's characterization of its role in global affairs.
Знаете, господин Макрон, периодически заявляет так горделиво, что он позвонит Путину обязательно, поговорит с ним. У него такие возможности есть. Никто, как говорится, не запрещает. Наоборот, президент постоянно подчеркивает свою открытость контактам со всеми своими коллегами. И в отношении вот этих, прямо скажем, неумных обвинений России в подготовке войны против Европы и Франции, Путин неоднократно высказывался, называя такие мысли бредовыми, чушью. Но, наверное, для любого маломальски вменяемого человека совершенно понятно, что России это не нужно. России нужно устранить первопричины той ситуации, которую Запад создал на Украине для подавления влияния, для ведения войны против Российской Федерации. Это прежде всего расширение НАТО, и президент Трамп и его команда прекрасно понимают, что именно это было главной первопричиной. Об этом публично говорят.
Pope Francis has been in hospital for almost 3 weeks battling double pneumonia, is in stable condition and is doing some physical therapy. This is according to the Vatican on Thursday, stating that the Pope has not had any further crisis since Wednesday, allowing him to do some work and increase his respiratory physiotherapy. However, his doctors have reiterated that his prognosis was guarded, meaning he was not yet out of danger. Monday's episodes had required Francis, that's Pope Francis, to use non-invasive mechanical ventilation, which involves placing a mask over his face to help push air into his lungs. The Vatican added that the Pope is now only receiving ventilation at night and receives oxygen during the day via a small hose under his nose. He has missed Ash Wednesday celebrations, but participated in a private blessing from his hospital suite. Despite daily health updates, he has not been seen in public since his hospitalization. Supporters have continued to gather, praying for his recovery.
Pregando per lui, perciò poi il Papa è forte e ce la farà. È un Papa di degna umiltà, una grande forza, tenace e capacità. Un Papa semplice, perciò mi ha colpito perché questo Papa, mia mamma, è finita così un anno e mezzo fa con la bronchite anche mia mamma, e io sono venuto anche io a sostenerlo perché ho perso pure mia mamma. Sono partito dal mio paese, Cercola, da stamattina alle 5:30 con il free bus e sono arrivato qua.
Argentine police have clashed with demonstrators in Buenos Aires during the weekly retirees protest, which saw a surge in participation this time from football supporters. The protest was fueled by a social media campaign urging people to not leave the pensioners alone. Retirees, including 72-year-old Oscar Suarez, voiced their frustration. saying, I'm going to quote here, first they target retirees, second they are destroying the country. Another protester expressed concern for the vulnerable, stating that all they want is to be better off, but should not do that at the expense of the most vulnerable.
Están haciendo mierda al país, primero que se agarran con los jubilados, segundo que están devastando el país, se lo ve clarísimo, ¿viste? La educación, la salud, esto no se arregla. Y la única manera de manifestarse es salir a la calle, la única que tenemos.
Acá hay una realidad, la realidad es que se está haciendo el ajuste sobre el pueblo, esa es la realidad. Entonces todos queremos estar mejor, pero no a costa de los más débiles. Te vuelvo a repetir, tengo un hermano discapacitado y sé lo que estoy hablando.
You're watching News Now on News Central Television. Up next is Business News. South Africa's current account deficit unexpectedly narrowed in the fourth quarter, benefiting from an improved trade surplus. The deficit shrunk to 0.4% of GDP, or 31.6 billion rand. That's about $1.72 billion, down from 0.8% of GDP in the previous quarter, according to central bank data released Thursday. Economists had anticipated a 0.9% deficit. The annual deficit stood at 0.6% of GDP, an improvement from 1.6% in 2023. The trade surplus expanded to 232.9 billion rand as exports outpaced imports, with the trade surplus for the year more than doubling to 216.4 billion rand, or 3% of GDP. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has been urged by Dr. Muda Yusuf, Director of the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, to allow companies affected by the unresolved $2.4 billion foreign exchange forward contracts to present evidence of their eligibility. He emphasized the need for fairness, suggesting that the CBN should invite these firms to clarify discrepancies regarding their claims. Yusuf urged that affected companies were not given the opportunity to defend themselves during the verification process. He called for the establishment of a verification committee to reassess claims fairly, noting that while some firms may not qualify, many could validate their contracts. The unresolved $2.4 billion is part of a larger $7 billion backlog of foreign exchange forward contracts. Nigeria's under-18 men's handball team is gearing up for the IHF Trophy Intercontinental Phase, set to take place in Pristina, Kosovo, from March 12 to 16, 2025. It's coached by Emeka Nnamani and Joshua Ayo. The team is currently training at Rowe Park Sports Center in Lagos, determined to make a strong impact. Despite a short preparation period, Coach Nnamani remains confident, while Captain Karim Farouk assures the team is ready for the challenge. Nigeria qualified as Africa's sole representative after a dominant 38-26 win over Guinea in Addis Ababa last November. However, they will be without key player Aziz Sulaiman Olaitan, who is in France for trials. Before leaving for Kosovo on March 10th, they will face Nigeria's under-23 team in a test match. The tournament kicks off on March 12th against New Caledonia.
We go there and come back with the trophy, and we are trying our best to see, even though the camping time was not too long. It's just, we have just 1 week, and by the grace of God, by tomorrow we'll be going. However, we are putting all things together to see that everything, maybe their fitness level, the tactical ability, and everything, we put them together to see that they do the best.
Right, guys, we have a bit and enough time to train together, to make it to the first position and get the qualification to the World Cup. He is one of the key players of our team, to be honest, and we are going to really miss him a lot.
Nigeria Super Eagles have maintained their 36th position in the latest FIFA Women's World Rankings released on Thursday, March 6th. The 9-time African champions remain the highest ranked team on the continent ahead of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations holders. South African 54th. Morocco is at 60th on the list. Zambia is at 67th on the ranking, and Ghana ranked 65. This marks the first FIFA ranking of 2025, with Nigeria holding steady at 1622. That's 160. I'll take that again. 1,622 points. Coach Justine Madugu's side were last in action against France during a friendly in November of 2024, which they lost 2-1. Meanwhile, their WAFCON group opponents rank significantly lower. Algeria at 83rd, Tunisia at 89th, and Botswana ranking 153rd on the rankings. On the global stage, USA leads the rankings, followed by world champions Spain, Germany, England, and Japan completing the top 5. At least we are first on the continent. But that's all we can take at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. The Senate has suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan for 6 months amid sexual harassment allegations. And a militant group has threatened to attack oil installations in the Niger Delta region over seizure of allocation due to Rivers State. And we also told you that 3 new Ebola cases have been reported in Uganda. You can send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. And while you're at it, pick up your phone, follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV on social media platforms. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422. We're now on GoTV channel 23. Find us on Star Times with channel 274. We're also on Apple TV, and you can stream us live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith at TV. Bye for now.